So it finally arrived, a little bit late. 100,000 was a few months ago now, but I hear it often takes a little while for these things to arrive. And even though 100,000 is just a number, I suppose there's something about the fact that YouTube is willing to send you these off their own money suggests that they consider it to be a significant milestone. So I'm very grateful for that, and more grateful to you, obviously, because you're the reason I have this. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity just to mark a point in this channel and have a little chat to you about what this channel and reaching this milestone actually means for me personally, and potentially what it means for your own YouTube channels as well. For you to understand what this means to me, I think it's important to give you a bit more of my story. Throughout school, I was a very shy kid, and the worst part of any school term for me was the English oral exams, where we would be given some topic, like some volcano we'd never heard of, that we had to stand up in front of the rest of the class and talk for 5 minutes about. And I remember being absolutely terrified of that. And usually what my oral consisted of was just me gripping the lectern and looking down at a set of bullet points and basically just reading off a list of very dry facts to the class, hoping it'd be over as quickly as possible. I never had that look at me gene, you know, that like, please pay attention to me. Some of the guys in class really did. They'd stand up there and they'd orate. I mean, it would be amazing. It'd be a performance, and you know, they'd get an applause at the end of it, but that was definitely not me. So a lot of you will know from watching this channel that in my early 20s, I really wanted to be a priest. And you also know that if you want to be a priest, you have to be good or at least comfortable with speaking in front of a group of people. So I went to seminary and discovered something way more terrifying than English orals. We had preaching classes, and that meant that you would stand up in front of the rest of the class for 45 minutes and give a full-on message. Then the class would let up for 5 minutes, and then they'd all come back, and for the second 45-minute chunk, they would then tear to shreds everything you'd just done. This made no sense. You didn't do your research on that point because that's factually inaccurate. That story you told, I didn't believe. You hold your hands funny. You say this word in a weird way. You make strange faces, just anything to pull apart and get you better at what you were doing. I remember a day early on where I'd given a message. It wasn't great, but it was, you know, I was still terrified of this thing. And the class just ripped me to shreds. And one of the rules in those sessions were that you weren't allowed to justify any of the decisions you made while the feedback was coming in. You just had to listen for that second 45 minutes and take in everything they were saying and accept it and internalize it and process it. But you couldn't go, yeah, but you don't understand what I was trying to do. And they were just shredding me. You did everything wrong. It just felt like absolutely nothing I'd done was right. And then the lecturer stopped the class to interject. I thought, great, he's coming to save me. He's going to go, guys, we're being a little harsh here. He actually said, Sean, I'd go a step further. Today, you insulted me. I remember leaving that room and feeling so dejected and thinking, well, now I have to pack in this dream I have because I obviously can't do this thing. And as I processed and sat on the side, there was a very clear choice in front of me. I could either choose to give in because of my fear and my own ego, didn't like what I was having to go through and didn't feel I was good at this and wanted to run away. Or I could say to myself that speaking to people and inspiring people and talking about the stuff I wanted to talk about was so important that I could deny my own programming, which is one of the few times in my life I can say I actually did that. I said, I'm not good at this. This isn't within my comfort zone, but this is so important to me. I'm going to push myself beyond myself. I'm going to go back in that class every week and I'm going to get better at this. And by the end of my time with the church, I'd worked for a good 7 churches all in all. I often spoke to rooms full of 2,000 people, and I ended up in a place where I was really good at it. And I was actually more comfortable talking to a room with 1,000 people in it than talking to one person afterwards. That's the level of comfort I ended up with. I also chose to do stuff differently than church. Churches often talk in a way where they pretend they have all the answers and they kind of fake certainty. And I made a commitment to myself that I was never going to do that I was going to be as honest about my own fears and doubts as possible. And that meant that I had emails every single Monday morning saying, you can't talk like that, you're a leader. You can't be honest about the places you doubt. And I just carried on because I believed in it. And it got worse and worse over time because I started to say more things that I believed in. I disagreed with the way the church spent their money, or how they often ignored the poor and built themselves bigger buildings, or how they treated people with alternate sexualities like crap and things like that. And I was told, you have to stop saying these things or you need to leave. And I said, I'm not going to stop saying these things because I believe in them, and eventually I was fired. One of the most devastating parts of being fired is I lost my context to do this thing which I've fallen in love with. I mean, it had become totally the opposite from what it used to be, where it was total fear in high school of not being able to speak to people. I'd now moved to a place where I absolutely loved speaking to and inspiring people. It hummed inside me like I think things do when we're built to do them on some level. So in 2008, I was just turning 30 and I was losing this career that I'd thrown so much time and energy into getting good at. And now I had to start from scratch. So the obvious choice for me was to pick up the stuff that I've been doing on the side, the photography and the video, and now make it my main purpose. And I really enjoyed it, so there was some excitement around that. But I also knew that I would have to start from the very bottom because I wasn't very good yet, and it was early days, and I wasn't getting lots of people hiring me. I didn't have a name or anything like that. So I had to go and wait tables. And the humiliating part about that is I was waiting tables in the city where the last church I worked for was. So I had people from the church coming in, and instead of them listening to me speaking from a stage, I was now serving coffee and getting out of their way so that they can carry on with their conversation, which was obviously very humiliating. So as I got a bit better, work eventually started to flow in, and I picked up some full-time jobs as well. I got a job shooting food photography and product photography for a company in South Africa, and then came back to the UK and worked for a company heading up the studios, shooting big sofas and dining sets and all kinds of big furniture for an e-commerce company. But I remember when I started with that company, I wasn't totally sure how to shoot something that big. I knew the theory, but I really needed to brush up on it. And I went onto YouTube, like many of us do, to work out how do I do this. And there were very few people talking about how do you shoot a big product in a studio with, 5, 6 lights and multiple reflectors. There was lots of tabletop photography, but I mean, that's not what I really needed. And I remember thinking towards the end of my time with that company, I'd been there like 4 years and I really knew how to do this. I was doing it every day. I thought, let me make a video giving back and showing people how I do this, and maybe it would become a channel. So I made 3 videos, and they're still on my channel today, back in the beginning of 2015. And the first one was just how to shoot a sofa or a chair in a studio. The second and third were like how to retouch, how to cut out drop shadow, and how to recolor different sorts of material. And they did quite well. They got passed around the blogs because I think I'd made a video that filled a gap that was there online. But I didn't care about those videos. So the channel didn't really happen at that point. I just kind of left it. And I remember it was about a year and a half later, it was May of 2016, I was driving on a trip just to get away for a few days to Snowdonia. And I made a video, which a lot of you have seen by the looks of it, where I talk about the fact that I'm going to try this thing. I'm not very good at landscape photography, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. And if I fail, I fail. And I kind of took you on my journey with me quite vulnerably, watching me mess up and make mistakes and all the rest of it, and talking to you quite honestly about using something like this, a journey like this, to refresh my love for photography. I remember driving back from Wales thinking to myself, I haven't really got a video here. There's just a lot of footage, but it's not going to fit together. But let's just do it anyway. I kind of got home and reluctantly put the footage on my timeline and cut it up and put something quite loose together. It was too long. It was 17 minutes. I knew the rule, that's not really going to work on YouTube, but I thought just post it anyway and see what happens. And that video took off way more than those early product tutorials I'd done, and more than the number of people that started watching that video. What really, really encouraged me was your comments, because the things that you were saying to me about the impact that video had on you and how it inspired you suddenly felt like what I used to do in the church. I'd chosen to be honest, I'd chosen to be vulnerable, I'd chosen to let you in and speak in a way that hopefully pushed you in your own journeys, but laying my journey open with you, that I wasn't trying to pretend I was a big shot. I was saying it's a struggle, it's difficult, we make mistakes, but we push on. And a lot of you connected with that, and that, I can't tell you what that meant to me. From that point on, it was an easy choice. I knew that whether or not this got numbers or not, this was the channel I wanted to run, and now I was going to start to commit to a regular schedule. So I posted up a trailer that said I would put up a video once a month like this. I wasn't a vlogger. I wasn't going to post a video every day or multiple videos a week. That just wasn't what I was about. But I was going to take my time and craft something and tell you something with these videos that I really felt was worth your time to listen to and hopefully would inspire you. And now I'm sitting 2 years down the line with this. saying that I've reached 100,000 subscribers, which is way more people than ever wanted to listen to me in the church. And I wish that I'd had this around back in the day to show myself and say, listen, leaving isn't the worst thing in the world. You're still going to make a difference to some people. Just keep going. So for me, this milestone means I found my way back to something that I absolutely love, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So what does me hitting this milestone mean for your YouTube channel? Well, I think the first thing it means is you can choose quality over quantity. On paper, I've done this all wrong. I know the rules for YouTube. I know what everyone says, that you need to post regularly, that you need to have multiple videos a week, a regular schedule, and push them out fast, because the more videos you put out there, they're like hooks. And the more hooks you put out there, the more subscribers you'll bring in, and that's how it works. But I crossed over 100,000 subscribers with only 35 videos on my YouTube channel. That means to me that you can choose to take your time with things. You can still be regular. Once a month is regular. It's not as regular as many people would like, but it is regular. Keep that stuff coming out at your pace and keep the quality as high as you can possibly keep it. Take your time over it, because my guess is that a lot of you subscribe to this channel because you could tell the amount of time and the amount of effort and the amount that I cared about the videos that I was putting out there. It is a legitimate path to choose. The second thing is you don't have to get it right first time. I certainly didn't. I mean, I put out those product tutorials, which looking back, they're fine, they fill a gap, but that is definitely not the channel I wanted to run. That is not what my channel now looks like. I had to make that mistake, put those videos out that I knew that's not the direction I want to go in, to be able to think about it and refine it over time. This is back to the perfectionism issue. If you're like me, you have this tendency to want to have a perfect idea, knowing that you're going to start posting videos and people are going to come straight away and you're going to be happy with it and it's fully formed right out the gate. But that's not a reasonable expectation. What will probably happen is you have to go out, start shooting, posting things, failing, tripping over yourself, making mistakes, getting up, failing again just in different ways, and working out slowly over time, what is my offering? What do I have to uniquely give? And that brings me to the third thing, which I hammer on about on this channel all the time because I believe in it so strongly. Be authentically you. Be yourself. Give what you have to uniquely give us. I know it's a scary thing to do, to be yourself on camera and put yourself out there, but in my experience, it's the best way and the best chance you can give yourself to actually get some traction. And what I mean by that is, people are attracted more to an authentic person than they are to someone who's putting on a vibey personality because they want to be like every other YouTuber. Be you. I promise you, it's your best chance to succeed. Let's be honest for a minute. My personality doesn't work on paper as a YouTuber. I'm not a vibey extrovert. My videos are slower paced with slow music and ambience, and I'm working through philosophical ideas that shouldn't necessarily work from everything that I hear, but it is who I am. I'm sure you've had this experience if you're trying to recommend this channel to other people. It's like, well, you know, he talks about photography and they're like, oh cool, and philosophy, and like, oh okay, and psychology, and like, oh all right, well, what's the channel? It's a photography channel, kind of. Is he got a good like presentation style? No, he's on the quieter side. Well, does he use like vibey music and those cool fast cuts? No, he's pretty straight cut and he takes his time with stuff. Well, does he at least give me lots of like gear reviews and like camera information so I can go out and know what camera to buy next? No, he doesn't really like talking about that. But somehow it's worked, and I think it's because people are sick of artifice and sales pitches. They're not interested anymore. They want to hang out with real human beings. And I kind of have this rule for myself that I think that if you meet me for coffee one day and we sit over a table, I hope I talk to you exactly like I'm talking to you on video, that I don't have a thing I'm putting on when I'm on camera and it's different from when I'm sitting over a table with you, that I am here who I am when I meet you in person. That's why I say when it comes to your channel, it's so important for you to, as far as possible, be who you are, give us who you are, show us who you are, take us on your journey. Because I promise you, that is the most compelling thing in the world, is an open human being willing to let you in on their journey. So I hope you'll stick with me, and even though I know how hard it is, I really appreciate all those of you who help me share this channel around amongst your friends and family and people that you know. It really makes a difference. And for your own channel, just remember that you can actually choose quality over quantity, that you don't have to get it right straight out of the gate, and your best chance of gaining traction with people, I really believe, is for you to be yourself. I also just wanted to say thank you so much to those of you who bought a copy of the book. This really helps support this channel, so I appreciate it. And I especially appreciate those of you who picked up a copy and then gotten a hold of me afterwards to give me the feedback you have. It's been really great to hear, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. Just to let you know, this is obviously collection 1, so this is the book for 2017's images. Come beginning of 2018 in January, I'll be releasing collection 2, and the following year collection 3. This will be an annual book. But there are less than half of these left now, and I won't be doing more print runs of previous versions. So once this print run is gone, they're gone. So if you did want to start collecting or start getting them, now is probably the time to do that. And just to let you know what it actually is inside, it's 21 by 21 centimeters, all on nice, thick, uncoated matte stock. It's 45 black and white images from my travels last year, as well as 45 color images. And it's kind of peppered throughout with quotes from some of the videos as well. And I've really designed this with those of you who follow me on YouTube in mind, because you'll kind of get some references to some of the videos and also with the quotes from the videos in there as well. So if you wanted a copy, pick it up. Now is probably the time, because they will be gone quite soon. And I really appreciate your support to keep this channel going.